and Bank Holiday Monday at 2, Bolton against Watford for the last place in the Premiership. Cup final suits on display for the first time. That's Manchester United's HQ, or has been for the last 3 days. Does he play, I wonder? Well, he's got his boots with him, look. Jaap Stam, who missed out on the final game of the league season. Manchester United, that is, leaving their HQ now. Well, Frank McClintock has made his way back round from where the FA Cup will be presented today. We'll talk shortly. Before that, let's hear from Kirsty Gallagher, who spent some time this week in the company of some of the last decade's most famous Wembley winners.
This famous stadium has been the home of the FA Cup since the White Horse final of 1923. My memories, though, are more recent, and as the decade draws to a close, we look back at the 90s through the eyes of some of those Wembley winners. We start with the 1990 final, when Manchester United were at the beginning of an incredible era. But that day they were pushed all the way by Crystal Palace, who took the lead in extra time.
Good work from John Salako. Oh, it must be! It is! It's right! Wallace, room to turn. Hughes peels up on a run. Hughes! 3-3!
We were happy that we'd survived, really. I mean, for a long stage of the game, it looks like we weren't going to get anything out of it. So we were pleased that we had another chance, and we weren't going to slip up the second game.
We were all quite high at the end of the first game. I mean, we'd scored 3 goals at Wembley. I mean, if you score 3 goals at Wembley, you expect to win. But it was a great game, and I think everybody remembers that game more than the replay. I think everybody was a bit more relaxed because we knew we'd been through it once. We knew what to expect the second time.
Lee Martin has come from nowhere.
I just hit it, and luckily it went in the top corner. And easily would have gone up in the stands somewhere. But if you'd have asked one of the lads in training, they'd have said, right, you never score in that position, which I never did really. I mean, that was the first goal I scored all season. I never thought that I would do it in my lifetime. With being a defender as well, I never scored at all, and I was delighted to score the winner. It's something I'll never forget.
The FA Cup goes to Old Trafford.
It was a big moment for that group of players. I think it was important that we learned to win things. I think that's important as a side. It's okay winning games week in, week out, but at the end of the day, you've got to put a trophy on the sideboard, and I think once you've done that, that gives you more confidence for going into similar type of games in the future, and I think that's what happened with the United side since.
Everywhere I go now, people mention it to me. You know, remember you scored, it was a great goal in the cup final. Well done, thanks for scoring that goal. People mention it all the time, and it's nearly 10 years ago now, and it's yeah, I'm proud when people bring it up.
In 1992, second division Sunderland were looking to cause an upset as they took on Liverpool, and the occasion was one Red skipper Mark Wright made sure was memorable.
To get there was a fantastic achievement, and certainly massive for the likes of Dean Saunders and myself, who had never played in the final. Most of the other boys had all been there before and seen it and done it. So it was massive for us, and both of us really were there, going to go and enjoy ourselves, and that's exactly what we did. There was no way that I intended to lose that game. Didn't matter how I played, but if I played well or bad, but I intended to do everything I could to ensure that Liverpool Football Club and myself came out winners at the end of the day.
Well, Mark Wright put out a foot, and Liverpool are living on their nerves.
They chased and harried and were winning tackles and were making life difficult. But I actually think that, the second half, the energy, the life drained out of them because we'd moved the ball about so much. And then the second half was just, I felt, was a lot easier than the first. It was like an exhibition. We were just keeping the ball moving, and they just couldn't get near there. And then it was only a matter of time before, we dominated the game.
Michael Thomas. It's Thomas again, and now Rush.
Because all your life you dream about it, you think about it, you want to win it, And then for it to finally come true, you just think, thank you. And then for me to be lucky enough to be the captain and to walk up the steps and you're going to receive the the trophy, you think, wow. And when you get up there and you lift it and then you put it above your head, wow, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. And I probably said something a little bit naughty on the television, and I did apologise for it. That made up for all the pre-seasons that I'd ever done, and all the feeling sick during them pre-seasons, and all the hard work you put in, and all the scars and the operations, everything. You think, that's it. That was fine. I'll take all that.
1993 was a vintage year for the Gunners. They won both the League Cup and the FA Cup, the only club ever to achieve this. And both times it was done at the expense of Sheffield Wednesday. Well, here with me today is Alan Smith, a member of that winning Arsenal team. Alan, you're a Wembley winner twice that season. What did it feel like to go up those steps and lift the cup twice?
Oh, it was brilliant. I mean, it's something that you always look at on the television as a child, and you never really imagine that you'll do it. It was a little bit different because it was a Thursday night, and we'd like to have got the job done on the Saturday, as traditional cup finals are decided. But nevertheless, although it was a wet night, it was still a full house, and it was a great occasion in the end, especially the way it finished.
As the first game ended in a draw, how did you feel when you knew you had to do it all over again?
Yeah, it just extended our season, I think, probably keen to get off on our holidays, but with the FA Cup at stake, we were all desperate to still get that because we knew there was a chance of making history.
Wood started to come, and Ian Wright gets it past him. And now Chris Waddle. Sheffield Wednesday have equalised.
At one point it looked pretty close to getting to penalties, and I've never really been that keen on penalties anyway. I used to run a mile, but we hadn't really decided who would take the penalties, but thankfully it didn't come to that.
Linnigan, and it's a goal for Arsenal. They've won the cup.
Andy actually had broken his nose with a challenge on Mark Bright, in the first half, I think. So it was very brave of him, the way he attacked the ball off that corner. And he deserved that because he'd never established himself in the first team, but when he came in for Tony Adams or Steve Bold, he'd really performed well. So I think all the players were really pleased for Andy.
How does it feel to say, I've won the FA Cup?
Well, it's tremendous. Although it probably wouldn't go down as the classic finals. When you look back, I'm at the end of my career now, and I look in my trophy cabinet at the FA Cup medal, winner's medal. It's a lovely possession to have, and something that you can remember for the rest of your life. And as each cup final goes by, you can say, well, I was there.
Often league form counts for nothing in the Cup, as Manchester United found when they faced Everton in 1995. The Blues' long fight for survival meant that pressure was never going to be a problem for Joe Royle's men.
I remember going to Ipswich, I think our second but last game of the season, last away game, and we won 1-0 very, very fortunately. I think Paul Rideout got the goal. And coming back on the coach afterwards, it was so quiet. It wasn't elation that we'd stayed up. I think people realised that the relief, it was just a massive relief, as if all that pressure had gone. And then I looked at us from that moment onwards, we were never going to lose the cup. Because there was no pressure on us at all. We'd won our cup final at Ipswich. I fancied us really strongly that day. Whereas United came into it, they'd just lost the league, they'd come second in the league, and everybody again made them strong favourites, but I thought we were right for it.
Jackson, Matt Jackson. No. Yes, from Rideout. Graham Stewart hit the underside of the bar, and Paul Rideout put it in the back of the net.
The lads always rip Graham, that Paul Rideout got him off the hook. Had he missed that chance at Wembley, people would never have forgotten it. It would have been one of those, and Smith must score, so Graham Stewart must score. He didn't, but Paul Rideout did.
The FA Cup goes to Everton.
I must admit, I did think back to that day when I was a young player at Everton and we'd lost in '68, so it just made up for that a little bit.
some Wembley winners from the last decade. If you've got a very good memory, Frank McClintock hasn't, but if you have got a very good memory, you maybe go all the way back to 1971 when he won the double. And you were just speaking to Andy about that and the excitement of a season like a double winning opportunity. Now, for the third time, Manchester United can complete the double here today. That would be something special, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be fantastic. They're in great form. Got a fabulous squad of players. They've got a great manager. Everything's just coming together right for them. On paper today, it looks as though they've got a much better team in Newcastle. But the cup final can kick you in the teeth, and it's been proved since way back that I think there's been 12 times when teams have been underdogs in the last 40 years, and yet they've won the cup.
It's a while since we had a really big surprise.
Go on, I know what you're going to say.
No, I'm going to think Wimbledon beating Liverpool here. That's what I'm thinking.
No, you wasn't.
Yes,
no,
I
it wasn't at all. You were thinking when Clive played for Spurs, wasn't you? And we were the firm favourites.
You were, but would Newcastle winning here today be as big as that?
It would be a major surprise, there's no doubt about that, because Manchester United, fantastic position to be going for all three at this stage of the season, and Newcastle in poor form, there's no doubt about that. But Ruud Gullit likes the competition. He came here with Chelsea, 26 years without winning anything. He puts a silverware on the sideboard at Stamford Bridge. Could well do it at Newcastle, and it's been longer than that since they've won a major trophy as well.
Manchester United are on the way, leaving their HQ west of London, and it'll take them something like 40-45 minutes to get to Wembley. The final step. They've been in Berkshire for the last 2 days. They go back tonight to a London hotel. They go out to Barcelona on Monday via Concorde. And this is Newcastle United, their HQ, which they joined actually arrived at only last night. Ned Bolting's been there watching most of what's been happening over the last 24 hours or so. Ned, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Richard. Well, after a quiet build-up, it's all happening now. The players, one by one, are making their way from the hotel onto the coach. We've seen Alan Shearer get on. We've seen Nikos Dabizas getting on there. Duncan Ferguson is on. He may well take a place on the bench. That is certainly what people are thinking. It's been a quiet build-up. They've had a quiet morning, but now it's all really beginning to mount up the excitement, and they're on the way to Wembley.
How long will it take them from there, Ned?
Well, traffic permitting, and they have got a police escort, so they should move fairly swiftly. Shouldn't be more than half an hour, three-quarters an hour at the most.
All right, thank you very much. That's Ned Bolting with Newcastle United, who have tried, Rod, to make this just another day out, just another game. Is it possible to do that?
Absolutely not. I think the FA Cup final, Richard, for me, is the biggest game in the English calendar, and every player wants to play in the Cup final. We were talking a little while ago. Some of the greatest players in the world have never played in the FA Cup final.
Johnny Haynes was one, wasn't he?
Johnny Haynes is one. I think George Best never played in an FA Cup final. It's that big, it's massive. But what I found interesting is they're all wearing Armani suits today, worth about £1,000. And
well, they can afford them.
And you've got C&A one on.
I think even the bus drivers are kitted out as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is different now, isn't it?
Just looking at the pitch, we've mentioned the way it's cut. We wonder, Andy mentioned earlier about the day, how it saps players. Will the heat be a factor today, Rod?
It is, yeah. I've played here at Wembley about a half dozen times, twice in League Cup finals. The first one I played here, Richard, it was a very, very hot day. And after about 60 minutes of the game, everybody on the field was drained. You need a lot of water.
What is it, 37-ish now, 36, double that and add 30. Yeah, look, crikey, out there it's very warm, isn't it? 106.
How'd you do that, Richard? What'd you do?
Well, you double it and add 30, and you'll end up with about what you want Fahrenheit. So you've learned something today, haven't you?
Richard, there's absolutely no excuses whatsoever today. That pitch is perfect. The conditions are ideal. They're playing in an FA Cup final. That won't enter into any of the players' minds whatsoever.
I don't think it's that hot today. There was a breeze blowing about there, you know. It affected us in '71. It was baking hot. Shankly made the story up that they played in nylon shirts, and that's what tired them. You know, Shankly. We'd always have an excuse up his sleeve. We're the fittest team in the land and all that, you know. And they get beat by us, and Shankly came out if we wore the wrong shirts. But the heat, if it's baking hot, it does affect you. But the pitch itself and the whole event, I think, tires you more than anything else.
Everything connected with the game.
Yeah. It's the whole emotion of it all, you know. I mean, if it's your first cup final, you might be 21, 22 or whatever. Your family's coming down and your relatives and friends and school pals and everything else. And when you get beat, Richard, and it's the worst place in the world, going in there as the defeated cup finalists. Everybody remembers the people who won the cup, and it's all joy and happiness. And you skulk away into the bath and into the dressing room. It's all quiet. It's a horrible sensation. It's great getting there, but it isn't nice when you get beat.
We're at Wembley Stadium for the FA Cup final, the last of the current millennium, the 5th time that Manchester United have been to Wembley for this FA Cup final in the last decade. Their 15th Wembley trip in the 90s under Alex Ferguson. Can they cap it off here and complete the second leg of what would be a remarkable treble? Or is it going back to the northeast, I wonder? Is it Newcastle United's turn? There's nothing, quite like winning at Wembley.
That's the best moment of the lot. When you actually turn to your supporters and you lift the trophy and you show them, what you've won.
That rush when you score a goal. I think I scored 38 during my career for Tottenham. I'll put all those together. That's probably the feeling I got when I lifted the cup at Wembley.
To actually do it and see it play time and time again, it's things you're never going to forget about the day.
Yeah, they did it and they won it. Where's it going today? Manchester United or Newcastle United? Coming next, Andy's Netbusters competition continues.
The elite of English football reconvene as one. A unified force. Driven by a passionate leader. Respond to a Swedish assault.
Sweden lead.
A single desire. The game they must win. A nationwide international. England v Sweden. Coming soon. Sky Sports 2. Saga.
Hello there. I'm meeting someone, but I'd quite like to freshen up first. It's just over here, sir. Thanks. Hello.
Best things come to those who loaf. Here's to maximum refreshment, minimum effort.
You smell nice.
Thanks, I've just been to the lavatory. Watch out, splinters.
Some things in life look better with a bit chopped off. Pay for a year's gas up front through British Gas's advance payment option. And you could see around 15% locked off our basic price.
Are you folks looking for a tasty chicken deal? Take a look at my new barbecue tower. A whole breast of chicken made to my secret recipe and topped with a special smoking barbecue sauce. Hash brown, cheese and lettuce, and it's only $2.45. It's a chicken taste for summer. How can I do all that? I'm a chicken genius. No one does chicken like KFC.
Come on, mate. Give yourself up. You're surrounded.
The human fingerprint is virtually indistinguishable from that of the koala. Discovery Channel. Explore your world.
Don't look down.
Oblivion, the world's first vertical drop roller coaster.
Let's keep it tight.